Radio in motion. Program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Radio in motion.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me on tonight's Radio Motion Unplug and Unwind. Kind of just a sort of a chilled vibe tonight as we head into the warmer weather and summer and hopefully good holidays with family and friends. But first up, I'm going to have another episode of The Ugly Truth. And like I always say, the truth can be ugly, but it can set you free. Now this subject, frankly, I'm tired of it. And the only reason I keep talking about it is because it keeps following us all around. And it's certainly because I dare say, I feel like government and big pharma, they really just want to make sure that COVID lasts forever. And when you see ads on TV, this particular one I'm totally going to roast tonight. It's from the Health and Human Services in the States, and it's on X, formerly Twitter. And essentially, you know, like I say, I'm going to play a snippet of it. And for those watching on YouTube, streaming live on YouTube, you'll see the video clip. And again, these are all just paid actors. And the thing is this is about boosters. Again, I'll go into certainly all the things that everyone gets all stressed about, especially someone like my mom who goes, "Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer." You know what? I got the COVID vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I believe in the medical community. And as I always say, no matter what I say, you go out and you find out the facts for yourself. All I do is give you the information, and I like an open discourse, and there's always two sides to a story. And once you have all the facts, you use your own brain. You use something called critical thinking. You ever heard of that? It seems to be a forgotten art these days. You decide for yourself. You take all the facts in. There's no disinformation. There's no misinformation like Australia's defunct misinformation bill. There is only information. And when one side puts down information from the other side, you have to wonder why. So nothing about anti-vax, but I'm about informed consent. So when I hear things about the boosters, I think to myself, why in God's name would anybody still be getting a booster, like on their 9th booster? It's just hilarious. And like I say, I'll unpack a bit of that later. It's not about anti-vax. It's about products being pushed down your throat, basically an experimental gene therapy, about actually having informed the public and been honest about it from the start. And again, COVID had its roots completely in lies and cover-ups, and we're still there. And it affected the world, not just, certain countries. It affected the world, and it's going to be affecting us, ramifications for a long time. So, when I get into these things, it's just about having an open discussion. And like I say, this subject keeps coming around because, like I say, I feel like some people in power want to keep it alive, and especially with something like the COVID boosters. So let me play a snippet of it, and I'll let you be a judge if you think is anything hilarious about what this ad is saying. And it's supposed to be like a mom having this heartfelt discussion. And again, this is 2024, almost 2025, folks. And this person is talking like, they just heard of the thing.
My name is Jennifer, and I got vaccinated to risk less so that I can do more this winter. I am looking forward to baking because I love to give cookies and brownies as gifts. My son...
Okay, I have to stop right there. So she's getting the COVID booster, obviously. I highly doubt in almost 2025 it's her first shot because she wants to do baking with her son. Here's a thought. You can do baking with your son and not get the booster. Again, by the way, for all those who goes, oh, she could be terribly ill. Look, everything I'm talking about, and when especially it comes to something like the booster, I'm talking about healthy adults. Remember they were trying to give it to healthy children? Did we all just memory hole that? I'm talking about if you are healthy, you have a healthy immune system, you have no comorbidities, and you are, again, You're not 90. You're not on death's bed. I'll unpack some of that again as far as anyone, less than 0.5% who actually died from COVID. All those people were old and had at least 3 comorbidities. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't coming for the healthy community, and it certainly wasn't coming for the kids. So this woman seems like she's a healthy adult woman, wants to get her 9th booster so she can do some baking with her son. I hate to tell her, she can do that anyway. Let's hear that again.
My name is Jennifer, and I got vaccinated to risk less so that I can do more this winter.
She wants to do more.
I am looking forward to baking because I love to give cookies and brownies as gifts. My son just asked me if we can bake traditional holiday cookies with frosting and sprinkles, and we're going ice skating, and we have all kinds of plans.
Ice skating. All right. So make sure to get your 9th COVID vaccine booster because that's required for ice skating. So again, I'm having a go at this because this is online and totally being ratioed on X. So for example, this has over 440,000 views and only 89 likes. Do you understand what that means? Even though there's no thumbs down button. The point is you should see all the comments on there. And again, for those who are like, oh, you're a typical conspiracy theorist and anti-vaxxer, well, we're going to go through quite a few things that I hope just open up your mind to critical thinking. And again, this is someone talking about getting a booster as a healthy adult. And let me give you another indication. So there's 2 people who actually resigned who worked for the FDA, and that's the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S., and that's like tantamount to the CDC, World Health Organization, anyone who holds sway and power over what they think is best for the public good, and the FDA is a bit shaky these days. But 2 of the people who worked there, 2 of the top people, they resigned over the boosters, and they had been there for 30 years, and they are passionate about the public health and medical health in general, and even they knew that it was out of control. And again, you have to understand who's behind this, and if you don't realize that Pfizer made billions, if you don't realize that it's in certain people in power in their best interest to keep us divided and panicked, and there's opportunities and money to be made, then I don't know what world you're living in. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is just life. Life sucks, folks. It is what it is. And also now there's this select subcommittee on coronavirus that came out publishing its findings on the pandemic, and it's hilarious how everything that they've proven that is it's of the preponderance of evidence shows it's pretty likely it's true, that pretty much anyone with a brain a few months into this, or at least a year into it, I had already figured out, saying things like, yes, it is more than likely that the COVID virus, that particular strain, did originate from the Wuhan lab. Really? The lab that was called the novel coronavirus lab? And yes, how can they test that? Of course they can. Of course they can see if the virus was manufactured. And again, so this is just something that's known now, but there's still people who are deniers. And you're like, why do you care? I care because it affects the entire planet, and it's affecting us to this day. And it was based on lies. No, I'm not surprised that the government lies. It's not about that. It's like there's one rule for them and one rule for us. Like when you hear things about, body autonomy. Well, that only seems to work for some, because it certainly didn't work when it came to the vaccine and people being threatened to lose their jobs over that, which I think is pathetic. And so this is the subcommittee came out with this, this paper they've published now, and saying things like, it certainly more than likely came from the lab. It wasn't a naturally occurring something in nature because it came from one source. It didn't spring up all around the planet at once, And again, let me remind you that lab was being paid for by taxpayer dollars, and especially someone like Anthony Fauci, who was definitely funding gain of function research. And again, I've gone into this stuff before. I won't get too deep tonight, but you need to understand what happened and how this occurred and how it's going to affect your lives and possibly your children's lives, for generations to come. Again, funding gain of function research is, again, the first lie and the first problem. This is not a naturally occurring thing. And again, if you don't think that there are labs that specifically, create viruses to weaponize them, then you also aren't living in the real world. I'm not saying that's specifically what this was, but the only reason you want to do gain of function research is to be able to create this so you can find out if you're able to stop it, so you can possibly, push it out to a certain segment or a certain country if you want. Again, that's weaponizing viruses. So again, that is proven. It came from Wuhan. And when you talk about risk, again, I'm not naive. Of course, everything in science and medical, there's a risk. Sometimes the cure is worse than the disease. Even people who get chemotherapy. No, my God, I'm not talking anything against it. I'm just saying everyone in any situation has to weigh up the risk. And as I always say, that's what your doctor is for. Of course, you need to trust them. You need to find that doctor, and you get your medical advice from someone. I'm not giving you medical advice in any way, shape, or form. I'm just giving you information so you can use critical thinking and use that for yourself. But when you hear things about, the risk, sometimes chemo almost ends up killing people, and others it saves. Again, it's all about getting the right information and what's best for you. But you hear about the odds. What are the odds of me, surviving if I do this, or if I'm on this medication, or if I don't take anything? Getting hit by lightning, or eaten by a shark, 1 in a million, or something like that. The space shuttle, I used to think that one was frightening. When the space shuttle was still around, it wasn't 1 in a million. The odds of dying on the space shuttle were 1 in 60. Obviously, as you know, Challenger and Discovery, there were horrible incidents in very short amount of time. So you can see that ratio wasn't a good one. Certainly brave men and women there. But when you talk about something like the COVID vaccine, it has a 1 in 800 risk of serious adverse events. Again, you can look that up yourself. And we were all sold this as safe and effective. To this day, by the way, I'm not talking about the past. Right now, it's safe and effective. Even the swine flu, they pulled the H1N1 because 1 in 100,000 possibility reported rate of serious reactions. 1 in 100,000. And they're not pushing that one, but they're still pushing boosters. They want people on their 10th booster. Again, I'm not talking about somebody who's 90 and who's on death's bed, and a stiff breeze might send them across the Rainbow Bridge. This is not about that. This is about healthy adults going to get boosters. This is about the people in their car alone wearing a mask. It's such a sad sight. So again, these are the things that the paper that they published, that they found, that thought, what a miracle. We only just found these things out. These things were self-evident long ago. Again, lying about herd immunity and certainly not being open about it. Social distancing in general. Again, I'm not going to go against the narrative that if I have the flu and I sneeze and you're right next to me, 100% social distancing will probably help. If you're in the next room, you're 6 feet away. Yes, I'm not an idiot. I'm aware that germs are all over our body and every orifice of our body leaking out. But it was such the regime that we lived in, where social distancing was, you were a pariah if you broke that line. And frankly, it had no effect. It was not based on any actual empirical data. You can call it bad science if you want. I think science is science, first of all. And I hate the terms like the speed of science. Science, if anything, shouldn't have speed behind it. Science is always actually trying to disprove itself, and that's the point of it. It's not about racing to a point and saying, all right, we've done it. It's all done, and it's perfect forever. It doesn't work like that. And the thing like masks, again, masks weren't based on any actual real data that this was going to do anything. And there's still people wearing masks like it's going to save them from, COVID, which frankly, even when it came out, it was a mild cold. And now it's more than a mild cold hiccup, again, for healthy adults. And again, things like the loss of business. It was catastrophic. The lockdowns were catastrophic and based on nothing except we have to keep on this lie. We've wrapped up so much into it. And again, we've wrapped up so much into Big Pharma and Pfizer that we've got to keep going. We have to show that it's real. Just in 2020 alone, this is from a report from the Federal Reserve. It's probably, the stats are worse now, but they take time to publish the papers. It was more than 700,000 businesses closed, accounting for nearly 3 million jobs. That was in 2020. Again, I'm not doing this to be negative or be a downer. People are resilient. The human race is resilient. We are amazingly resilient. We are bouncing back. Life goes on. Like I say, life goes on. We're just here in between ice ages, folks. Don't stress. No one's going to remember you in 100 years, okay? I'm just being honest about, while we're here, let's just be honest with each other about things. And don't forget, Pfizer, making $100 billion, $37.8 billion, that was just on COVID vaccines. Again, look all this stuff up yourself, or don't. Or just call me crazy and leave it at that and live your life how you want. Again, you should live your life in your happiness. You do you. That's fine. But for those who want to keep informed, then I think you should keep informed. And again, when I have these conversations with some people and I say something about the COVID vaccine, you get the flu shot, you get a normal sort of immunization. That's different. It's giving you, non-viable dormant versions of that flu. And the whole point of it is it's just going into your body, much like if you have allergies and the pollen's in your nose. Do you know why your nose swells up with all the mucus? It is trying to protect you from all the antigens, and that's a reaction. So vaccines are good. Medicine is good. I'm not anti-medical. I'm not anti-science. I'm a Star Trek nerd, for God's sake. I'm all for science to save so many of our ails for the human race. But I'm about finding an honest path through, not a power, money-hungry, big pharma path through this. So when I talk about the COVID vaccine specifically, I'm talking about mRNA, messenger RNA vaccine. However you want to spin it, it's gene therapy. And no, I'm not against it. If one day we find out it could cure cancer and it could save us, that's wonderful. But don't push it on the public and not inform them of everything because you think the odds are it's better for them to take this, even though I've just told you the bad didn't outweigh the good. All right. The chances of an adverse effect were far too high for something, again, that would have been a mild cold for anyone who actually had COVID or the flu, feeling like a nasty flu. As a healthy adult, you all survived, didn't you? And a lot of people survived without the vaccine and without their 10th booster. Again, this is about the boosters. Give me a break with the boosters. So again, remember, this is about an experimental gene therapy drug. It wasn't just a normal, and is still to this day not just a normal vaccination. It is a messenger RNA, And the thing is this gene therapy, it's not quite there yet, not even at the cusp. There's so much about the human body we don't understand. And the thing about gene therapy, it carries the drug into depths of your body. Again, you think I'm talking smack? Look this up for yourself. The messenger RNA carries the drug into depths of your body, your brain, your heart, all your organs, into places that aren't even made clear and you don't even know about. I'll be honest. You get a shot, you get a vaccine shot, it's in the muscle of your arm. It's not spreading throughout your body because it's been designed to do that. And again, there's also traces of synthetic DNA. I won't go into that. This is not about this. But again, if you want to be in the know, you can go down that rabbit hole and keep yourself informed. But just understand, this isn't a normal vaccine. If you all had it, I had it. It is what it is. We can't take it back. But we can be aware of it and never let it happen again. And make sure those who did push this without informed consent down our throat are held accountable. And again, I get it. It's creating those antibodies and antigens. But the thing is again, with this type of messenger RNA vaccine, you don't know where it's going and you don't know how high those antigens are. And again, I'm not going to get too specific because I'm not a virologist, but I'm just giving you an open discourse of information. When this type of vaccine, you don't know where it's taking these antigens and they could be too high, causing other problems. Again, you have to weigh up the good and the bad, whether it's the right thing for you or perhaps you're healthy enough to deal with it yourself. Again, obviously always get advice from your doctor. But again, I feel bad for the doctors because I think they were wrapped up in this themselves. For any doctor now, who only now some of them are speaking up and they're out there, they were certainly worried for their career, for their livelihood. We all have lives, we all have bills to pay, we all have a legacy. And I tell you, when you are ruined in the public eye, when you're made a pariah and you're canceled, to be canceled as a doctor, that's horrible, by your community, by your colleagues. And that's what has happened, and that's what's still happening. So any of them who speak out in honesty, I think they're brave, first of all. And again, I never want to promote distrust of the medical community. They are there for you, and they are there to save us. They are our saviors, and they should be trusted, not revered like gods, but they should absolutely be trusted for the work that they've done and the intelligence they have and the knowledge they have behind them to help you with your health. So this is never anti-medical. This is anti-big pharma and government who have an agenda. And I think that's the problem, and that's what makes me sad on so many of these subjects, especially, like I say, with the COVID vaccine, sounding like it's a standard vaccine, but it's not. It is an mRNA, messenger RNA vaccine, and it is going to places that you don't want it to go. Again, let me give you an idea. I'll end with this. Someone asked me, what's the difference with insurance in America as opposed to like Medicare in Australia or the UK? And again, neither is perfect, but I will tell you, in America, it's out of control. And yes, the insurance companies and big pharma and government, they're all in on it like a cartel. So this is how it works in the U.S. with your insurance. It's terrible. You're already paying. You pay for your insurance. Like anything, you don't want to use it, but you pay for it in case you need it one day. And someone says, oh, well, in America, private insurance, it's more like a capitalism. It's an open market. It's about competition. No, it's gone too far into corruption. Like I say, it's more like a cartel. Health insurance, you go to the hospital, you go to the doctor, there's no prices in the U.S., not like they are here in Australia or the U.K. There's no, set items for a copay or for Medicare. You go to the doctor, you really don't know till afterwards. And again, this is not the doctor's fault. This is the system that was set up for them. They do the tests, they do whatever outcome, the medication, and especially in the hospital is even worse because they are there primarily, as they should be, to save your life. When you are in defib and you're jumping your heart with the paddles of the defibrillator, and the medication they give you and all of that. Look, you get the bill later. They're not going to wake you up and go, "Can you sign for this?" It's $50 a pill. So I get it from that point of view, but the problem is nothing is clear. So that doesn't sound like an open market of capitalism. The thing is, you get the bill later. You don't know how much your insurance is going to cover, and most people are shocked when they get the bill. Tens of thousands of dollars, and it's scary. And the thing is, the only people that know the price of a thing, what has been set, is in the background. The big pharma, the vendor, they know how much it costs to make their pill, and they sell it to the medical clinic or the hospital. And the hospital or the medical clinic, they know how much they paid for it, and they have to make a profit too. I get it. That is the basics of capitalism. You have to stay in business, competition. But the thing is, they keep that in such a black bag, you don't know about it till you get stiffed with the bill, and a lot of people end up not even be able to pay for it. So that's the problem with that. Here's the difference. Capitalism is, I want to buy a T-shirt. I go to the shop on the left side of the street. It's $30. I don't know. Oh, there's a shop on the other side of the street. Same shirt. Oh, it's $20. I like your style. Sold. $20 for the same T-shirt. Now, that was the two businesses. Maybe this one had a better deal with the vendor, or he can cover the cost. He's making a profit. The other one needs to decide if he needs to bring the cost down. That's capitalism. That should be how a doctor's office works. But it's not. That's the problem again. And where all these things culminate from is the money and the power-hungry part and the corruption. And that's how we got to COVID cover-ups, and that's how we're today with the government still trying to sell you a booster, whether it's free or not, I don't care. They're trying to give it to you because somewhere in the back end, someone's making big money off of this. There's no reason for a healthy person to have their 10th booster. I'll give you one more example of how it makes sense, how the insurance companies are sort of price gouging. And this was actually, so, this isn't mine, but I thought this was fascinating. I saw this on Candace Owens, and she's not wrong. This is fantastic. This is a perfect example. The insurance companies in the U.S., they used to be in charge of laser surgery, of eye surgery. And it used to be astronomical. Probably 10, 15 years ago, it was 20 or 30,000. Because the fact is they kept those costs hidden from the public, so they could change it to whatever they wanted. It was always evolving. We're not sure how the machine, how much it costs, the staff, all of this. So it would be an outrageous cost because the insurance was in charge of setting that price. But then there was a shift, whereas the LASIK surgery, the laser eye surgery, rather than becoming a medical necessity, it was thought of more as a cosmetic surgery. Now that changes everything, because in the cosmetic surgery world, that's all about competition. But what it did was reveal and open up the fact of how much it didn't really need to cost based on pure competition and capitalism. Because now you can get that done, and this is for US dollars, probably for about $4,000, $4,100, I think was the current average price for both eyes. I'm just saying to have laser eye surgery for $4,100 from $30,000 is amazing, and it's attainable. And at least up front, you pick up the card. Oh, I'd like some Botox, an eyebrow lift. I'll take some laser eye surgery. Nice. How much is that? Well, it's all right here on our poster on the wall. That's how that works. When you remove the insurance companies, guess what? Everything got easier. I'm not saying it was free. Nothing in the world is free. We all work towards something. There's industry behind something. There are moving parts. There's things to be made. It all has a cost, but attainable and unattainable due to greed are two different things. So think about that. That's a perfect example. Remove the insurance, laser surgery drops to $4,000, and attainable. And again, now you've got competition because the prices are listed right outside the clinic. And this is when you come to the t-shirt shop. Now you come to the laser eye clinic surgery shop. One side of the street, $4,000. But on the other side, and yes, with the eye surgery, it's all about the machine. You research the machine, because there are certain ones that are amazing, and the operator. You look up their website. Good feedback, good history, and you go to that side of the street, and he's $3,000. Boom. Now you're selling a product because you have to make money to the public. You're helping them to get healthy, and they're deciding because they have information in front of them, they can decide for themselves. So that's all I can say. That's how I got to this journey of making fun of that booster ad, and how we got here with how we can hopefully one day be able to break down all these walls of greed. And it all starts with all the big government operations and the FDA and big pharma. And again, no matter what side you're on, I'm not going to do the whole new regime, but as far as, I'm just going to say with who is currently in power in the U.S. and who will be taking over the White House, it's not so much him, yes, the evil word, Trump, it's not so much him, but it's who he surrounded himself with. And one of those people is RFK Jr., and he has vowed to look into a lot of these corruptions behind the scenes in the FDA and Big Pharma. And again, just to give people a chance, to give you a chance to do what I'm doing now, to keep you informed so you can make the choice. Again, I'm not saying for you to be Dr. Google or make your own decisions, medical decisions. Of course you shouldn't. That's what a doctor is for. That's what the trusted medical community is for. But when it comes to serious, possibly life-altering decisions based on a drug or a shot or an operation, it used to be that people were proud if you kept yourself well informed. You were smart. Now you're a conspiracy theorist. Think of that. I think that's despicable. It used to be maybe you went to the library before the internet and you researched that surgery and the possibilities. And again, of course, being steered by the medical advice of your practitioner, of course. But you still have a brain of your own. I'm not saying you're going to be the doctor, but you can at least put some critical thinking behind it and make the right choice. And if you are lied to about the facts or they're hidden from you, you can't make the right choice. You cannot make the right choice with lies. And that's what the origin of COVID and the COVID vaccine and now the boosters had their origin in lies, and that's where we still are. And I won't change my mind about that. You can try, just like I try to change people's minds, but it's all about having that open discourse, and we find a way forward with give and take. We agree to disagree on some things, but that's the beauty of having these conversations. All right, that's about it for me on The Ugly Truth. More great music coming up next on Radio in Motion.